I have memories of being in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, I was like maybe 3, and I recall that at that time the then Prime Minister, he was landing in a chopper, and I was just rolling in the grass somewhere and just watching that from a distance. You know, security issues were not that huge or whatever, and I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And Irfan, unfortunately, I did not have much work, but it's a gift to have somewhat shared the screen with him. Akshay is a riot to work with. He's so fun, enthusiastic, and uninhibited. Dasvi happened with that kind of, like a spirit where they knew that I could do it before I knew I could do it or at all or whatever. I went through rigorous physical training for 3 months, giving up of a lot of things I love a lot to eat. So I have no understanding when people say, oh my God, it's like so hot, it's so lovely. And I'm like, yuck, chi, chata lao. Ye kya hai?
That's a very Indian. Hi, and joining us for a very special flashback, we have the gorgeous Nimrat Kaur, and we're so happy to have her in person finally.
Yeah. So nice to finally meet you, Natasha.
Same here. We have to start with your childhood, and you had a very interesting childhood, lots of travel, and you have seen different places and cultures. So what was that like?
Crazy and so much fun. And I thought every child had that life, that every 2 years you're moving, you have new friends every 2 or 3 years, you have a new school, you have a new house. You pack up everything in black metal boxes with, my father's name painted upon it. There were those stencils, and I've done all that kind of stuff. And you move in convoys from place to place, or trains, what a great and a really unique and a fun way of growing up. Nothing quite comes close to it for me. Yeah. I have memories of being in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, I was like maybe 3, and I recall that at that time the then Prime Minister, he was landing in a chopper, and I was just rolling in the grass somewhere and just watching that from a distance. Security issues were not that huge or whatever, and these are such beautiful moments and memories imprinted in my brain.
And you have a sister as well. So what was that like? Like, were you the typical siblings who,
Yeah, I used to beat the shit out of everyone. Yeah, if I can say that word. But that's all that I was less a sister, more like a big brother figure. Like, I used to wait for it. Like, I'll tell you this one fun incident. And she was a little cute doll, people used to touch her to see if she's for real or not. Someone beat her up one day in one of our regiment parties. So I locked the room. I switched the lights off. Okay, this was a strategy. I pulled the curtain down, which came down with a pelmet. I took the curtain out and I bashed that boy with that pelmet. Yeah, it was a thought-through strategy. And that boy was bleeding and all kinds of violent things happened to him that night. And I was a bit of a bully when I was a kid. I was in fact christened Bacche Kutni, which in Punjabi means someone that beats kids.
So were all the guys scared of you? Like, you look like this, but
yeah, there was a boy called Bablu who particularly had my devilish fancies, and he used to come on his cycle, with his oddly Sevadar. So he used to sit on that bar hota hai na jo cycle ke beech wala. He used to sit on that, and from far, like I think I was two and a half, and he was about 5, I'm told. And he used to see from far that, ki ye khadi hui hai wahan pe. So he used to pick his feet up. And his sevadar used to have a great time. He used to be like, aap bhi bhaiya bolo kuch unko baby ko, whatever. So I used to pull him down from the cycle, take his socks, shoes off, beat him left, right, center, throw him in the drain, and then go home. I used to wait for him every day. Yeah. I don't know why, I have no idea. In parties, I used to lock that kid up in a bathroom, beat him up, all kinds of weird things.
Yeah, so all the complaints coming home to your mom.
They used to come ki, Mrs. Bhupinder, what's happening? आपकी लड़की जो है वो आप उसको संभालिए कुछ. My father used to swoop in. आप अपने बच्चों को बोलो बजाएं अपने आप को. लड़की क्या करेगी? आप वो कर रही है जो उसको करना है. आप देखो.
And so when you grew up, were the boys, scared to approach you? कि ये तो, बड़ी डरावनी है.
No, as I grew up, somewhere this kind of went away, and I became milder and milder and milder. My sister became, the this I mean, it was kind of a role reversal. Not that she beats people up, but she is the one who will take on any fight any day. I'm the one who's like, Ruby, come on, let's bounce. She's like, you leave, I'll sort this out, you wait. Like that. So it's a bit of a role reversal. So no, boys, I mean, also, as you grow up, you realize that boys do play an important part in life, apart from just being objects that you can beat around. So,
And as we know, you started with theatre.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like? How did that fascination happen for plays and theatre?
actually, when I came to Bombay, Natasha, I came after college and I had wanted to make a living quite quickly because I said, I need to sustain myself. So, music videos, ad films, all of that kind of started my work life. I started to earn money and things. And then I realized that, this is not all there is to it. And I need to understand the craft better. So I started doing theatre for that reason. I started watching plays for the first time in my life. I had seen somewhat plays in Delhi growing up, but nothing amazing or nothing like, where social or political issues or, old texts were picked up or, like anything. So I started to watch plays. And then I kind of looked at the plays that I liked, and then I went up to those people because I wanted to work with them and learn from them. So I auditioned. My first play was a musical called Mastana Rampuri Urf Chappan Churi. I had a small part in that. And simultaneously, I was cast in a play called Damages, which was done for THESPO. So THESPO is like a festival, youth theatre festival done in Bombay. So I did these two plays simultaneously, and it was really such a great time. And I knew that thereon there was no looking back. So I pretty much, maintained my ad film career so that I could sustain my, my love for theatre, because it's a well you're putting all your resources into, time, money, everything. You don't really earn anything out of it except for a lifelong bank of knowledge or experiences and the tricks of the trade. It's pretty much the only learning school you can possibly have if you don't have the funds to go abroad to a fancy acting school or something.
And I think everyone who grew up during that period would surely remember Tera Mera Pyar.
Yeah.
Like you guys just look so beautiful, both of you as a couple on screen. So how did that happen?
I was told by somebody who used to work with my cousin that Sony Music is looking for a new face for these two videos, and I met the producers, and they really loved the fact that I hadn't done anything yet, and they felt like I was the right fit. And it was done in such a beautiful, sweet way. Apoor Vasrani is actually the director of those videos, and that was my first outing on camera. And till date, people, know it. And that was done, I think, in 2004 or 5. So it's been a very long time, and yet it has that recall value, and it clearly left a very big impression, which I didn't know about at the time. And we shot those in 3 or 4 days in Fame Ad Labs, which is like, I don't know if it exists anymore or not. And it was all such a cool concept where, people are just walking backwards and forward, and, it's kind of like in slow motion. So I had a really good time.
And of course, Lunchbox, we can't not mention. That was, I think, the film where everyone noticed you, and
Right.
like you won a lot of praise for everything. And of course, Irfan Khan, and the cast was amazing also. So any memories that come back from that time?
Oh, it was magical. I mean, it's a gift that keeps giving. Lunchbox is like, I always say that anyone in my place could have been taken. I mean, anyone could have been cast in my place. I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And sometimes you just look back and you wonder, you're like, I wonder what I did right to be in that time, at that place, there. Those are just blessings, I think, certain gifts, that you... Beautiful memories. I didn't even screen test for that film. Oh. The director had watched a couple of my plays, and the casting director had a very big part to play in it. She's no longer among us. A very dear friend of mine called Seher Latif. Yeah. May God bless her wherever she is for having made that happen. She was a very, very important part of that. And the Lunchbox, it was just phenomenal. I really enjoyed the journey towards the filming part. So 3 or 4 months went into like just understanding the script, enjoying working on it, the prep that went into it. I had decided a few things for the character, some small details here and there, like the fact that, she was someone who was a bit unkempt. I grew up my eyebrows out and I had kind of stopped looking after myself as you normally do. I had like put mehendi on my nails to give it like a bit of a stain. It gives it a nice rustic feel. The film actually, honestly, was done in like 30 days. My part was shot in 9 days. And it was a small apartment in Malad somewhere. I remember that the cinematographer had to get on top of the counter to shoot because it was so cramped. But that was the idea, for the film. And Irfan, unfortunately, I did not have much work, but it's a gift to have somewhat shared the screen with him, in one of the most special films that one can think of.
And we also know you've done a lot of work internationally as well. So from Homeland to Wayward Pines. So what was that, experience like? Was it different from what, the shoots that happen in India? We're sure it's pretty different.
It's as different, Natasha, as it is to travel in India and travel abroad. Traveling is traveling. You'll enjoy that. I mean, I enjoy as much going to like a Karnataka or a Kerala or Far East, Meghalaya, or, as I do traveling abroad anywhere, whether it's Cape Town or Vancouver or wherever else I have filmed and traveled. Culturally, we are very, very different. That just kind of comes into the work culture as well. Everything that we come with as a race and as a country kind of goes into our work environments as well. There are pros and cons both sides. It's not like one environment trumps over the other or anything. I love working in equal measure in both places. I'm very lucky that I'm able to have one foot in that boat. So that creatively it brings a very interesting mix to my kitty, so whether it's Homeland or Wayward Pines, which I'm very happy that you know about. So I've done about 2 seasons of Homeland, there's Wayward Pines, and I've just done a guest appearance in Foundation Season 2 for Apple TV, where I got to work opposite Jared Harris. He's one of the most incredible actors worldwide. I mean, that kind of a learning experience, I felt like a student on set. Very rarely do you get to work with people which, who inspire you in a way where you kind of sit back and you realize that you really have to start from scratch. Just when you think that you maybe know a thing or two, someone like that comes along and then, you're like, no man, there's a lot more. And, so you learn different things from different environments. It's wonderful to have that blessing to be able to imbibe what you can from an environment like that. And then, of course, I love working in India. It's our language, it's our people, it's our problems. My only thing like when I work abroad is that I don't understand the problems people, have abroad. Like they want more sun. I hate the sun.
Same.
Yeah. I hate it. I love grey clouds, rain, I love all that. So I have no understanding when people say, oh my God, it's like so hot, it's so lovely. And I'm like, yuck. Chi, chata lao. Ye kya hai?
That's a very Indian problem.
It is. And especially like growing up in the north, all you have is the sun. Yeah. You have 3 months of winter, and here in Bombay, you have a sneeze for a winter. You have nothing. So I find it very sad, that nobody understands my problems there. So I just have to sing along and I say, yeah, oh my God, yuck, it's raining.
And of course, one of your most popular films, Airlift also. Yeah. So any memories from there that come back?
Fabulous times. Akshay is a riot to work with. He's so fun, enthusiastic and uninhibited. And I think his way of working is to make sure that the other person on set and people in front of you and all of that don't get intimidated by Akshay Kumar. So he just demystifies everything, relaxes everyone with a joke or two, or he'll make fun of himself, he'll make light of the situation, and he's so lovely and so helpful. I had such a wonderful time working with him. I remember when I was on set with him for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is Mr. Akshay Kumar, and I'm working opposite him, and I'm supposed to say my line as if I'm his wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm thinking Mohra, Khiladi, all the films that, he has worked in. I'm just thinking and thinking about all of that. But, that kind of vanished and evaporated in 5 seconds. He was so lovely, so fun and so sweet. Full of life and enthusiasm. And no, he didn't play any pranks, if you're going to ask me that question. I don't know, but yeah, no, none of that stuff. He's very good at playing cards. So I almost lost all my bank balance.
Okay.
But I managed to, I realized midway, I said, I don't have a chance, I better stop.
And your recent performance in Dasvi, again, your transformation, and clearly you put in a lot of thought and effort towards your characters. So, from there as well, we have to ask you what was the prep like, and what went into making that character as good as it was.
It takes a team, it's never one person. It takes the vision of everyone there. You are an instrument, really, at the end of the day, who brings, the page alive. But there's so much. There's costume, there's hair, makeup, there's the director's vision, there's the cinematographer's vision, the way you are presented. There's so much that goes into it. And whether it's the test case, which was again a very delightful journey, as the physical transformation, which was the other end of the spectrum for me, where I went through rigorous physical training for 3 months, giving up of a lot of things I love a lot to eat. This was diametrically opposite to that. I took about 6 or 7 months to put on some 15 kilos. Went through, like that process of learning the Haryanvi dialect, which I really enjoyed. And I had to actually be very mindful because I speak Punjabi, so my tendency is to veer in that direction. So I had to be careful of minding that a bit. But it was so wonderful. Sunita ji was my coach, my dialect coach. Sheetal, who designed the look and the costume, and right down from the nose pin to the rings to the hair to Taranum Khan did the hair and makeup designing, and just the inputs that come in, they're so fine and they're so incredible, and you feel so inspired in an environment like that. And then you have your 2 bits that you come with, that hey, I want to do this, and I think a little change here and a little something there is gonna. And she was just such a fun character. I just had to wear everything, put on the makeup, and just enjoy and have a blast. So Tushar was champion voice every day, in my ear, sending me texts at the end of the day, how it's going, how it's working, because it's a part I had not ever even imagined myself doing. So I was most thrilled, but also a little intimidated that how am I going to be able to play this part, and comedy is something that either works or doesn't work. There is nothing half about it. There's no half funny scene. Either it's funny or it's not funny. Either you laugh or you don't laugh. I had a blast with it, honestly, and I'm so grateful to Dinu for giving me this character and for trusting me with it, because they had nothing to refer to. It's a casting against type, and I'm very grateful for that, because it's only the second time this has happened with me. When I can truly say that somebody came to me without any reference, like the Lunchbox was seen by people, behind Homeland. And they said that, we saw a spy in your eyes. And I said, oh my God. I said, I don't know where you guys saw this or saw that spy in that miserable housewife's eyes, but okay, sure, I'll take it up. Dasvi happened with that kind of, like a spirit where they knew that I could do it before I knew I could do it, or at all, or whatever. So I'll always be very grateful to that team and and to Madlock Films for that.
And like you said, the test case came at a time when no one knew OTT would be as
Yes.
huge as it is today. So what made you take that kind of a risk, whether...
I didn't see it as a risk. I don't know if I'm, I didn't see it as a risk. I saw it as an incredible opportunity, because I said, wow, this is a 5 or 6 hour narrative, and how exciting, I'll get to work so much more on camera. And I had not had that kind of exposure to camera. You see, I had only done a couple of films and shows, but that kind of extended exposure to camera, where you're going to be on set working for 3 months or something like that, I wasn't going to give it up for anything. And then the subject, which was army related, I have to play an army officer, a commando, and someone who's like, it was just a no-brainer for me. I was like, absolutely. And they had me at the one line. And when Ekta and I met and discussed about it with Samar Khan, who was the creative behind that, it was a no-brainer. I was on, I was just like, I hope no one else, is even considered, because I really want to do this. And I was very, very lucky to have done that.
But what a fabulous job. So we're glad you did it.
Thank you.
And where do we see you next after this?
Well, I'm doing a. I've just done a show. I've wrapped up a show which I'm very excited about for India, for the Indian market. So that should be announced in some time. Maybe it'll release year end or next year. Very interesting dark thriller genre which I haven't attempted before, and it's been put together by some of my favorite people in the business. So I can't wait for that to be out there. I'm starting a film called Happy Teachers Day with Maddock. And we are hoping that we are able to bring forth another amazing story. It's a social thriller. It's a genre that I've not again attempted before, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. We start shooting in very shortly now. I'm very excited to be shooting in Pune for it. I'm very thrilled to be taking this on. We just had like a couple of look tests and all of that, so it's very exciting to see yourself in a way that you've never seen yourself before.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Looking forward to all that. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. It's my
you.
pleasure, Natasha. Thank you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.